All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create this project. So let me show you the first image that we're going to start with here. So here's the original picture. And let me go back. One of the first things I want to point out is I took a lot of time to select my photographs. And you'll see that I really only have maybe 4 photographs that I'm using here. But I went through and selected a lot more. And I started with a lot more photographs, but then I really kind of scaled back to just using a few. So let's go ahead and I'm going to walk you through this edit and how I put it together. So here's our first photograph. Now, Photoshop has made this so much easier to select things. We're going to go select and we're going to select object, or I'm sorry, subject. And then AI is going to go through here and do such an easy job of selecting this. So let's go ahead and hit the layer mask. And what I'm going to do here is add another layer. I'm going to put it below. And then I'm going to go edit fill, and I'm going to fill this in with a color. I'm going to sample from this shirt and just go maybe a little bit lighter. Okay, so that's my background image. Now, if you hold Control on your keyboard and select the mask, it brings that selection, it activates it, makes it alive. So let's go ahead and add another layer. And then I'm going to go edit fill. And this one I'm going to fill in black. Okay, so let me get rid of that selection, select, deselect. Let me show you what I did there. So this is what I did. So on this layer here, let's go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we can kind of experiment with it. I just want this like to have kind of a shadow and a depth to the texture there. So it kind of gives it a drop shadow. All right, we're setting up our picture here. Let's go ahead and get the other one. So we're gonna go File, Place Embedded. And here's my example. I had a lot more photographs that I went through in my selection process here. So we're going to bring in our first one. I'm just going to press enter. Then I'm going to bring it up above the picture of me. So this one comes down here. And let me show you how easy it is to activate that selection. So Control, click on the mask, and then we're just going to add a mask right there. So now this picture is got a mask there that's kind of putting it inside the profile of my body. Now let me show you. Right now the picture and the mask are linked, so we want to unlink them, and then the white box is telling me that we're on the mask, and I want to go to the picture. So now with my move tool, I can move this around, wherever I want it to be. Okay, so we're going to place that there. So I'm going to bring everything in, and then I'm going to tinker with it a little bit more and kind of customize it. So let me show you. So File, Open in Place, and then we're going to get our next one here. So this one comes in, and I think I end up making this a little bit bigger. So I scaled it up, press enter. Let me see how big I made it. Yeah, okay, so it's about that width. All right. And then we're just going to go Control click, and then add a mask. All right, so we got that. And then we're going to go Control click, and then add the mask on that picture. Now remember, we want to unlink it and then go to the picture here, and I can scale this around. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of work between making this all work. But let's go get our next picture. So File, Place Embedded, and we're going to bring in this one here. All right, so this one came in. Hold on. Let's hit enter, and then we're going to move that up here. Okay, so we position that up there. And I think I ended up making this one larger too. Let's see. Yeah, this one got quite a bit bigger. So we're going to go Control T and make this image a lot bigger. Fill this space in. And then I go back, Control click on the mask, and then add the layer mask. All right. And make sure to unlink it and select the picture so I can move this around. So kind of play around with that. Now, let me show you what I did with each of these images here. So I think I'll start by turning them off and just focusing on one at a time. Let's focus on this one here. So I positioned it about here. And then on the mask here, what we can do is make sure you're on the mask. And then we're going to go over to the gradient tool. I need the foreground color to be black, and make sure you go to your basic options for the gradient, and you're going to want to do the second one that goes from black to transparent. So that's the one that we want. Now you can come over here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to select and drag down. If you hold shift, it'll give you a straight line. Okay, so that's starting to get that fade that I'm wanting. I'm going to start from the bottom and go up as well. Perfect. Okay, let me go a little bit more with that. Nice. Now, one of the things that I did in the project here is I selected the mountains and really defined them. So let's work on that. So now let's turn this off just so I can see better. What I want to do is I want to activate this photograph here. And then I'm going to go select sky and let it do a selection of the sky there. Perfect. And then I need to inverse it. So I'm going to go select inverse. So let's go to this picture here. Let me turn everything back on. Let me actually back up a little bit there. So we had the selection. Let me get rid of that selection. Let's do the gradient on this picture as well. So gradient is all set up. We're gonna soften this. Okay. So let's turn this on. So that's how that's starting to look. Okay. And what I want to do now is go to so this one here is covering too much. All right. So what I want to do is bring these mountains, make them kind of pop. So let's go back here, turn that one off. Let's turn off the mask for a moment, and you hold shift. When you hold shift, you can turn the mask off, and so we see the picture as it is. So back to that. So now we're going to go select sky. Look at how good of a job that does. Select inverse. Let's turn the mask back on. I'm going to go to my brush right now. So my colors are set to something different. I can go back to default by clicking that. And I'm going to go to my brush on the mask here. Let me bring the flow and the opacity. I brought those down for something else. Okay, and there we go. Now I've got my nice mountain range here. Cool. All right, so let's look together and see what we have here. All right, let me turn that off. So I like this transition right now. What happened there? I got to go back and do a little bit of work. Okay, so the mask on this one here is, so that's how I like it. I got to work on the mask, or I could just do this. Let's just bring this up. There we go. All right, so I like that. I like the mountain range there. This photograph behind it. Let's go turn on this one here. So this one needs some work. Let's go to the mask there. Let's go to my gradient tool. Okay, so my foreground color, I need to flip that so that the foreground color is black. And I'm just going to drag up from about here. Okay, nice. Let's go. All right. Now what I want to do is go to my brush tool and let's set up my brush. So the hardness is at about 50%. And for my opacity of the brush and the flow, I'm going to bring them to around 50. And I'll make my brush about that big. So my foreground color is black, and I'm just going to brush back my face here. So it's just kind of a call of like how much I want to. How much of my face I want to bring back and show, how much of the picture. It looks funny. Seeing my hair like that, that's kind of weird. Okay, so it's just kind of, what did I do? Let's see. Let's go back and look at this one here because I liked that one a lot more. Okay, so let's see what I can do there. Okay, so I'm just clicking and brushing and bring it back. Now, if you mess up, you can just flip this around and you can bring it all back. or if you hit X, it flips those. So we can go back like that. All right, so at this point, I've kind of got everything the way I like it. At this point, I would just go through and just clean up some of the edges. Like I'll probably go in here and clean up the mountain range, extend it here. Just need to do a little bit more work there. But I like how this came together. And so just some thoughts as we're kind of closing here. You saw me go through this really fast. I was just piecing it all together. Just the creative process and figuring out where I wanted to arrange them took a lot of time. So the first time I made this one, the arrangement took a lot more time, and I was a lot more thoughtful of where things were placed. This one here, you just saw me put it together pretty quickly. So I look forward to seeing what you guys will come up with, how you will use the different tools, how you'll use that gradient tool selection, how are you going to incorporate brushing different parts, where are you going to arrange these pictures, what pictures you're going to use. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. So, and also that trick with the background and kind of blurring it out. You could even play around here. Maybe you don't want to do a solid color. You could do a gradient fill here for your background. I'll show you some examples of what I'm talking about here. So let's see this one. I was playing around with it earlier. I don't know if I liked it as much. You'd have to find a color range of colors that would work for you. I just kind of ended up doing a solid color. So, all right. But those are some things you can play around with and explore. Look forward to seeing what you come up with.